Hey guys, Josh here. Hope you're doing well. Hey, I've been asked by a bunch of people recently about my favorite website hosting provider. Now, I've used a whole bunch of them over the years, and more recently, or over the last couple of years, we've been using Cloudways. Really, they're a great kind of price to performance host. You can put a couple of different websites on a single server, depending on how big the server is. They do have a couple of extra features for auto scaling if you do really need to do that for a high volume site or something that gets surges of traffic every now and then. But just in terms of kind of price to performance, they're really good. They've added some extra features and bits and pieces that just make it a lot easier and simpler for the average user than a cPanel kind of setup. So if you don't know about any of those words that I just described, that's fine. Just watch this video. What I'm going to do is walk you through setting up your account, creating your account, setting up your server, and launching your WordPress site. And then at the end, I might add just a couple of extra of my favorite plugins that I like to have just for extra backups and security and those types of things. So look, let's dive in here. So what I've done is let me just move me over here and make my little head a bit smaller. So I do have an affiliate code for these guys. Look, you don't have to use it, but if you do find value in this video, then I would love if you would click that affiliate link. It doesn't cost you anything more. It just gives me a little bit of a kickback for helping to spread the word about Cloudways. So what we're going to do here is click Start Free. And then we're going to have a look at the different plans. Now, because we're based in Australia, well, firstly, actually, we do need to set up our account here. So I'm just going to create one. I'm just going to go whatever that is, whatever this is, and sign up. So it will give you 3 days of hosting for free before you actually need to put in your credit card details and pay. I would always put your card details in just in case you get your website started and then it kicks you out because you forgot to pay. Let me just click this link really quick. Cool, so I've just received this email here, so I'm going to click the link and it's going to open a new window here, and then we'll be able to choose our server. Awesome, it is just getting us to the login screen where we can choose our server. Awesome, here we go. So I'm going to get rid of this on the right hand side. Now we do have a couple of different options. At present, my favorite option is actually a Vultr high frequency server. If you don't know what you want, I would either go something like Vultr high frequency. I'd start with just a 1 GB server and then make sure that we're choosing our location. Now, depending on where we're based, we want to have a server that is close to not us, but actually the majority of our clients. So if for example, if you're based in Australia, but you actually have a majority of your clients based in the US, then you actually want to host your website in the US so that there's shorter distance for the signals to travel, which means your website is actually going to load faster for the majority of your clients. So that's really what you want. So for this example, you can either go Vultr high frequency. Again, I usually always start just with a 1 GB server. You can always upgrade it, but it's more difficult to downgrade it. So start with 1. If you want, you can do 2. The other option is going to be a DigitalOcean. If we go to Sydney here, they also have a high frequency style option here. You can see the little premium option. So I'll tell you what I'm actually going to do is do the premium option on the DigitalOcean hosting. So that's going to be $14 US per month for that. So it's about 20-ish Australian dollars. It will add a website to your, or an application to your server straight up. So up the top here, we can choose what we want. So this is currently the one of the latest versions of WordPress. So we're just going to choose that. We're going to just call this test website, Josh's server, and then your project. We're just going to leave that. Oh, I can't use a comma there. That's all right. Cool. So I'm happy with this. We're going to go launch now. Now, it will take a minute or two for it to get up and running. Here you go. It's going to take 7 minutes. What it does is in the big data warehouse that they've got in Sydney, it's now going to spin up kind of an environment on one of the big servers that they've got. And then this dashboard will allow me to control it. So what that means is there isn't a whole bunch of different software that's really running on this server, which can slow it down. Imagine if you've got your computer and you're running kind of Windows and you've got all these different applications on there and you're just trying to use this one app, but because you've got so many different open, it's going to, the whole computer is going to be slightly slower. I know it's a bad analogy, but it gives you the idea. What this does is it makes sure that there's nothing on that actual server except the control panel that's actually hosted externally, and then it's just your website that's running on this server, which means that it is very, very high performance. It doesn't require many resources, so it's actually a lot more affordable than much more than other premium options. And you can always, because it's in a big data warehouse, you can always scale it. So you can increase the resources, increase the amount of CPU or RAM that you actually need on your server if you want to host multiple websites, or if you have like a big e-commerce store, or just a site that requires a lot of resources or has a lot of visitors, you can easily kind of scale it up to suit your needs. Cool. So what I'm going to do is, as this is going, I'm just going to hit pause because there isn't much that I really want to go through here. I'm going to hit pause, and then once it has finished setting up the server, we'll jump straight back in. Awesome. So as you can see, our server is now online. We've got the little green dot here. We've got our IP address of the server, and we can click into it to start configuring it. Now, most of these things you probably don't need to touch. The only thing that you may want to adjust is if you are importing or migrating an existing website to this new hosting environment, you probably want to make sure that the database and the PHP are the same versions. So how we can check that on here if we go to settings and packages, and then if we click on packages, we will have PHP. We've got 8.1, which is what it is. We can upgrade it to a new one, but 8.1 is going to be supported for a while, so I'm not worried about that. And then we've got the database now. It looks like we can't actually modify that. This should be fine. You shouldn't have many issues with this at all. But there are some different options if you do have database or PHP issues. Basically, if your website's already hosted somewhere and theirs is running a much, I guess, older version, and maybe the plugins that you have or bits and pieces on the website that you haven't updated yet, so that it's compatible with some of this newer technology and new systems, there could be some compatibility issues. Most of the time you're fine. It's probably only in about 3 to 5% of cases that I've come across in which there are compatibility issues, but I think you should be pretty fine. The rest of these you probably don't need to worry about. If you do need to scale, if you do need to upgrade your server, you can just go to the vertical scaling option, and then you can do something like choose the 2 GB version, the 4 GB version, etc. As needed. Cool. And then backups, these are already scheduled, so you won't need to worry about that. Awesome. So now we've got our server, it's all set up, and remember we've already decided on the name for our first website. So if I go to the left over here, in this second option down, and I go to my applications, we'll see our test website. So I can now go into my test website, and then you can see this is a new menu with a whole bunch of different options. And now I can, if I like, I can access this website. I might click this one here. It will open it in a new tab. Or if I want to log in, I can go to the admin panel, and then it will give me some login credentials here to log in. Now, obviously, if you have an existing website, we can migrate it. Oh, wonder why this... Maybe I didn't copy that properly. Yeah, correct. I didn't copy that properly, so that should be working now. It's going to take a sec, and here we go. So we're all logged in. So we're on the back end of WordPress now. Now there's just a couple things you may notice. We have this Object Cache Pro here, which is a caching option. It'll just help the website load faster and take less resources. And if we go to plugins, there is Breeze as well, which you'll see up the top. Again, that is also a caching plugin, just a different type of caching. So what that does is just help kind of take a copy of the website, take some images or pictures of it, so when people come and have a look at it, it doesn't have to kind of actually reload the whole website application every single time. They can kind of just interact with the pictures that have been taken on the website, and they refresh every couple of hours. So if there's any updates that you've got, they will be available. These other two are just default ones. The Hello Dolly one, we can just remove that, and then the anti-spam, this particular one, we are going to remove that for this instance. Cool, so we are all sorted. Now, if you do want to start building your website from scratch, you can do that. Let's go and have a quick look what we may need to do to actually launch the website. Really, the only things we need to do is actually connect our domain to the website, and then maybe if we need, we can activate an SSL certificate. However, how we are going to do it, which is what I recommend for all of our clients to do as well, and what we do internally, is we use Cloudflare, which is another platform, not to be confused with Cloudways, but Cloudflare, which looks like this, to host the DNS or domain name services for our website. So basically, if you go to a web address like this one that we've got, so greatnessbooks.com, it will, if you type that in your search bar, it will ask what is the actual address of greatnessbooks.com, and then we need to say, well, it's this address for this server that we've just moved it to. So if you have not set up a Cloudflare account, you can just go to cloudflare.com and create a new account. You can then click Add Domain, type in the name of your domain. There could be a couple little tricky things. So before you actually do that, just make sure you get a consultation with someone like myself, or just an expert in someone that knows how to do website migrations or DNS changes, because I have had clients in the past lose access to their emails. And it's a bit of an annoyance to try and get that access back and then do the migration. So just make sure that you either know what you're doing or you're talking to someone that does. But what we will do is find the IP address of our new server, which you'll see here. This is our public IP address. I'm going to copy that, and then we're going to go to our Cloudflare account. Now, there could be other another DNS host that you're using as well. For example, if you have your domain through GoDaddy or Crazy Domains or something like that, you actually should be able to go in and change the A record or the C name record there. So this one doesn't have any records. I'm just going to speed through this because this is kind of just a secondary part to the tutorial here. What we will do is add a new A record. We're going to have it at, which is just what we call the naked domain, which means there isn't like www in front of it. There's no subdomain in front of it. That just is the naked domain. And then we will use the Cloudflare proxy. Now what that does is uses Cloudflare as kind of another protective layer, so people come and look at the kind of the photo or the copy of the website that Cloudflare has without actually accessing your server directly. So it kind of just adds an extra layer of protection there. And what that also does is Cloudflare can then add an SSL certificate to that access, so you don't need to pay for it. You definitely don't need to pay for it with, I know GoDaddy charges $100 a year or something like that. You won't need to do that. So we're going to save this A record. Now, a lot of people may come to the website and type in www. and then your website or greatnessbooks.com in this case. So what we're going to do is if they visit that, we want them to be redirected to this main naked domain. So we're going to add a second record here. It's going to be a CNAME record. We're going to choose for the name is the subdomain. So in this case, it'll be www, as in www. And it gives you the example here. And then for the target, we're going to type @ so that way www is an alias of Greatness Books, and we're going to keep it proxied as well. Hit save, and that's all we will need to do for here. Now obviously if you're setting up emails and other bits and pieces, you might need to add some other records, but that is not in the scope of this particular tutorial. But now that I've pointed it there, what I can do is on the left here, click Domain Management and add our new domain. So I'm going to type in greatnessbooks.com. I'm not going to worry about adding the wildcard. We'll leave that for the moment. What that does is it will allow you to have like an SSL certificate for all the other subdomains that you may have, but we're not going to do that right now. So see how we've just added this as an alias. Awesome. So now if I go to greatnessbooks.com, theoretically, if everything loads, yep, it is actually taking us straight to our website. Now, as you can see, it's an alias and not the actual primary domain. So we do want to change it to the primary domain. So what we're going to do is click Make Primary. Now, I would only do this, obviously the DNS records here, we'd only change them once we are actually ready to go live. In this case, it's a brand new website, so we're not going to do that right now, but this is how you would go live. Now, this is going to take probably about 60 seconds for it to just update, and then we're going to have a look at the back end of the website. Cool, it's now swapped over to the primary domain. So if we go back to our access details, you'll see that it's changed here. And we can just click on this and it will take us to our website, which is awesome. Now the SSL certificate is already automatically added, and that is from Cloudflare. If you have a look in Cloudflare, over on this side, you can see it's already flexible. It already exists. Yeah, so so basically we don't need Cloudflare anymore. We're all set up there. We just want to, let me just close these for a sec. We're now at greatnessbooks.com. We now want to log in here so we can go to the admin panel, use this these details if they are copying correctly. Awesome. And then, which it is, great. So now I'm just going to quickly run through. Basically, we're all set up. Our website is actually live on the domain. We can now go and obviously edit the website and do what we want. I am just going to share a couple of different plugins which I recommend for any new builds. The first one, we'll go add a new plugin. And we're going to type in SMTP. And we're going to look for this one, Fluent SMTP. There are a couple other options, but this is just the one that I have used for a while and works really well. What this does is whenever we do send an email, so if someone fills in a contact form from our website and then it sends us the email to let us know, hey, this person's just asked this question. Sometimes the email system is not going to work for many different reasons. What we want to make sure is that we are keeping a log of those emails. So now we've activated this plugin. So I'm going to go under settings here, Fluent SMTP. So now we're in the settings of the plugin. Now, if you want to choose one of these email providers, which will just be kind of like a secondary backup, for who's actually sending the email from your website to you or to wherever it needs to go. Or you can just go PHP, and this will just choose whatever your default kind of setting is for the server. Again, I'm not going to get too far into that, but I just wanted to demo this plugin. So I'm going to just go Josh Test at nifto.co, and it's Greatness Books website. Awesome. Save connection, and there we go. So we've got that. What I do want to do is change delete logs to 2 years, so that way it'll keep all of the logs for 2 years. And then if you do have multiple SMTP options available, different ways or different email addresses that you have in this list, you just want to choose whatever the primary one is. We're going to hit save settings. And then lastly, if you do want to send yourself a test email, you can do that just here. Click send test email, and you can make sure that you've actually received it. Actually, let me just do that really quick. Great, it sent the text. And now if we go to the logs, you can see that it is sent. You can have a look at what the email looks like, who it was sent to. Everything looks okay. And then if you need in future to resend, you can click resend, and it will just resend the email. So especially if you've got an e-commerce site and you need to resend an invoice or something like that, this might be a good way to do it. Awesome. Now the other plugin I'm going to walk you through really quickly is called WP Vivid. Now, I've been using this for a very long time. They are well established and have worked really, really well. And it's going to be this particular one, the migration backup staging. I don't really use it for staging, but I do for backups and migrations. So the reason you're going to use this plugin is if you have an existing website that's somewhere, you want to take a backup of that website and then upload it to this site and make sure everything's restored correctly. I've just installed this. There are a couple of different backup plugins, but this is the one that hasn't let me down. A lot of the other plugins that I've used, sometimes they have issues. The file's too big, or it's not uploading properly, or it won't restore properly. But I've never had an issue with WP Vivid, so highly recommend them. So if we also install this plugin on our existing website, what we would do is click the Backup Now button. What that will do is you can see it's starting to take a backup. Obviously, there isn't much on this website. It's a very, very clean, fresh install. So it's going to be very fast. And then down the bottom here, you can see that we've just created a backup on this date. So what we can do is actually download this. It'll show us all the files. There could be multiple folders there, but I'm just going to download that. And then what I would do is go to my new website. So if I delete this now, so there's no backups on this website except the one that I just downloaded. So now pretend this is the new website. What I can do is just upload the existing backup, which is this one here, and click open. Here it is here, and we're going to upload. So that'll take just a couple of seconds to upload this backup. Now, it won't restore immediately. It will just make sure that it uploads all the files, and then you can choose if and how you want to restore it. So there we go. The upload is complete. There we go. We've got the backup. And now if I did want to restore this, so load this back up to the to this website, we will just click this restore button. I'll click restore here, hit OK. It will take a little bit longer to actually do that. Again, this is a very minimal instance, very minimal website, so it'll only take a minute. There we go. So we've already restored. 100% complete, and then it will refresh. What will usually happen is it will actually log you out and ask you to log back in, and you will need to log in with your old website's username and password, your admin there, rather than the one that it's created for you here, because it's actually taken that user account, and that is now the admin on this website. So that's all you need to do. One last thing, if you do want to schedule backups, you can go to schedule enable backup schedule, and then choose how often, say weekly, database and files, and then you can have it just saved to the website server itself, or you can actually send it to a remote storage like Box or like Dropbox or Google Drive or something like that. You do have to set it up here. It's pretty straightforward. I'm sure you can figure it out. But that is what I would do. Now, again, Cloudways does have its own backup functionality. It will do it probably, I think it's on a daily basis for about 2 or 3 week period. If you do need to restore, if there's an issue and you need to go back and find an earlier version, unfortunately I don't have any because this is a brand new server, right? So it didn't exist before about an hour ago. But you'll just be able to choose a day in the last kind of couple of weeks and restore that. Awesome. Well, that's all we need to know. We are all set up. We've got our website, we've got our domain hooked up, we've got our key plugins, and we don't have anything except just this hello world. But as you can see, these actually aren't going anywhere because there is no pages on this website. But it is a pretty fast website. You can see some of the stats here, although unless you can read that, unless you actually know what you're looking at, it's a little bit difficult. But I think that's all we need to go through. Let's just double check that we do verify our phone number and then we do put our card details in. To do that, I think you go here to My Account. You can go to Funds. You can either add funds or payment and address. And then you can put in your details here, proceed to payment gateway, and then you can put in all your card details, and then it will bill you at the end of every month. Cool. I think that is all that you need. If you do have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment or a question below. And I hope you have a fantastic day. See you later.